oh, hi.
Have you ever accidentally slipped into a character before while talking to another?
Frequently. We were recording season 2 of Black Butler and a season of Italia at about the same time. Right, and I mean, you get this joke because you're English, so imagine like having to do British and then having to do French in like the same hour. Like I would be like, oh, here I'm doing Sebastian, that sounds nasty. I'm performing, I mean, it doesn't sound that nasty, let's be honest. But I could, you know, I was in here like recording for Sebastian for several hours, and then they're like, hey, can you pop down the hall and do a couple of lines for France for this week's episode? I'm like, yeah, sure. So, you know, if you spend, you know, 3 or 4 hours doing this voice, oh, hello, oh, yes, my lord, and blah, 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 butler and salt and blah, blah, blah. And then you have to go down and be like, hello, how are you? And it was just, it was weird. So it was because the two accents just like, they don't want to get along, and then it was really funny. Like I've been asked frequently in America, one of the favorite fan questions is like, so can you act out what would happen if Franz and Sebastian met? Can you just act like, they love doing that? Like, hey, can you do 2 characters at the total extremes of the accent range and just make them talk to each other right here in front of all of us, unscripted? And I'm like, sure, why not? And so my answer has always been like, oh my god, you're so sexy, do you want to come work for me? No. You pick. I can't pick. I love not having to pick. There's no pressure.
Any questions up at the peanut gallery?
We can't hear you anyway. I'm just waiting for one of them to scream, who are you? Why does anyone care? Yes, you tell me.
Okay, so this is more of a request.
More of a request.
Yeah.
So it's a request.
Actually, it would be great if you would do the France laugh for me.
I will do the France laugh if you can tell me a really cheesy knock-knock joke. You can phone a friend, it's fine. Like you can ask somebody who's got a good knock-knock joke, and I'll do the laugh.
Yeah,
All right.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange who?
Orange, you glad I didn't say banana.
Can I tell a funny story real quick about the French accent? So, I've spent a lot of time in Canada, which is our neighbor to the north back home, and the first time I went to Montreal, I speak, you know, enough French to get around pretty well, but I've never really I'd never experienced the Quebecois accent, which is very different. It's like French with a cracker in your mouth. It's intense, and I love it. But I thought, oh man, I'm really out of practice with my French. I can read it and understand it really well, but speaking it's a whole other thing. So I was, in the months before I was going to do this con there, I thought, oh, I'm going to study up on my French, and I'm going to, just because I want to try to speak as much French as possible, because I just think it's a nice thing to do. If you're going to another country to try to speak a little bit of their language, it's just, you know, it's a nice thing to do. I'm a guest, I'm going to try to earn it. So I get off the plane. For 3 months, I've been like, okay, yes, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just so prepared to talk French. And I get off the plane, and I'm on the spot. My French liaison, beautiful, beautiful girl named Eva comes up to me, and she's like, you know, and she speaks French to me first, just as a, you know, polite kind of welcome to Montreal. She's like, you know, bienvenue, Monsieur Tatum. And my first ridiculous instinct is to speak at her in a French accent in English. So instead of being like, oh, you know, whatever, I'm just like, oh, thank you, it's so nice to be here. I am so sorry. But because it was a Parisian French accent, she thought it was hysterical, because they hate the French too. She was like, oh no, we hit him, it's good, come with us. I'm like, oh thank God. You think it's nervous for me to be here in front of a bunch of English, like a bunch of Brits going, do Sebastian's voice, and I'm like, okay, but it's your voice. You realize that? I mean, I'm sorry. But it's like to be in Quebecois, Canada, and be like, do the French accent, and I'm like, do the French laugh, make fun of us. And I'm like, oh. And they're like, oh, that's funny, that sounds so stupid. It's great, I love it. I love Montreal. Who's got a question now?
Can you tell us a really random story you haven't said on a panel?
A really random story that happened on a panel?
You haven't said on a panel?
That I haven't said on a panel? There's really not much I haven't said on a panel. Can you, well, what?
I watch lots of YouTube videos on panels.
Well, see, so you've heard everything. Yeah, I can't think of any random stories. that I haven't said. I'll get back to that. Let me think about it and I'll revisit it. It's a good question. Sorry. Who's got another one? I heard. Yes. Who's got the mic? Oh, there you are. You're all hiding down there. Hi.
Do you enjoy watching the animes? You do voices for?
Yes and no. I love watching the original. She's like, back off, I'm not done. I've got the mic. I ask all the questions from now on. Go away. I love you. What? He's got his own mic. What was the question? Oh yes. So I love watching the original Japanese, and I frequently watch the entire show because I work as an adaptive writer. So I'll work on it and be like, oh my god, I love that show. And then I sometimes like watching the dubs of stuff that I'm not in, because colleagues of mine, I'm like, oh, that's wonderful, you did a great job, and you really brought that character to life. It's really hard to hear your own voice. And to watch your own performance. Not because I think I'm bad. I'm not like, oh, I'm terrible. I mean, clearly, you know, it's what I do for a living, so I can't be that awful at it. But I love recording so much. Like, I love being in the booth and the experience of kind of putting it all together and being there with the director and the engineer and watching the script unfold. Like, it's such a wonderful experience that going back and watching it weeks, months, sometimes years later is kind of sad for me, because I'm like, oh, it's just like a memory. It's like a scrapbook of like my favorite time. And it's also, to me, one of the best parts of acting is getting to do multiple takes, and each time you can kind of give something a little different and play with the character and be like, oh, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do this, and you would give the director like a whole palette of choices that they can build the performance they want out of. It's so much fun to do. Well, when you're watching the final product, it's done, it's over, there's nothing more you can do, so it's kind of like, I would do that differently. And everyone's ever had the experience of recording yourself, like a recording or a performance, and you watch it later, you go like, oh, I would make so many different choices now. Well, of course you would. You would always do that. You can't, no one gets out of that mindset, however many years you've been acting. So watching your own work and seeing it kind of in stone is weird. You're like, oh, there's nothing, it's stuck, it's that way forever now, and there's not a damn thing I can do about it. So it's weird. I do feel it's necessary to watch your own stuff when you can, because it teaches you, like, oh, I could have done that better. What's missing, or what's this? Or I'm like, oh, that really? I sound like that? But for the most part, I tend to kind of avoid it. There's only a select few things that I've watched all the way through multiple times, because I just love the show that much that I'm like, oh, I can get over that awful guy that's playing that character, me. But yeah. Did you have a follow-up question?
It's more of a request that I think every CL fangirl in this room will appreciate. I think I asked you to say this earlier, but can you say CL, do you like it rubbing his fancy?
No, I don't want to say it. No. Can we talk for a moment about the shippers who love CL and Sebastian?
If you don't ship your CL and Sebastian, but Sebastian looks like his dad.
Okay, two things. One, Sebastian's way older, and I know if you identify with CL, I get why you want Sebastian. But what the hell does Sebastian get out of that relationship? Oh, awesome, I'm gonna date a trust fund brat who can't tie his own damn shoes. Like, that is a one-sided relationship. Also, Sebastian looks like his dad, and that's gross. I don't want to date my dad. I might date your dad. That's a different story. I ship Sebastian and Grell, just because I think... I just love the odd couple thing. It's like you have Grell, who's just a force of nature, who's like, la! And Sebastian's like, oh god. I would watch that show, The Odd Couple. Sorry, I didn't mean to break your dreams. But...
You said it before on a panel.
Yeah, for you. That was just for you.
No, it wasn't on a panel.
I said it for a panel. It was years ago. It was a different person then. No. I love you, but no. Ship something else. I love you. I'm not God. Who are you praying to? So that's how I know you're crazy. Who's got another question? Oh, wow, they're back there now. Oh, hi. Wait. Speak. Who's got the microphone? Oh, there you go. Sorry. I thought they were behind me. I'm like, yes. So.
Shut me, sorry. Does acting as Mickey Malcolm on Confessionals make you want to do more normal acting, or would you rather just...
Look, normal acting. There's no such thing as normal acting. Yeah, I had so much fun. I did a lot of stage and film when I was younger, before voice acting really took off for me. And voice acting just happened to be the thing that I'm like, oh, cool, I'm doing more of that than anything else, so I chose to focus on it. But I do like doing on-camera stuff. Like I said earlier, though, it's more limiting on camera. When you're doing on-camera stuff, you're very much judged by your appearance. Like, you go into a casting room and you may be an amazing actor that have like the most sophisticated and nuanced take on a character, and you may give them a read that makes them go, oh my god, I really felt something. You clearly know this character. If only your hair wasn't blonde. You know, and so it's really it's more of a struggle to explore your range on camera because you're so limited by your appearance. But it's fun doing Confessionals, the web series that we've worked on, and now the first season is coming out. I think we're at episode 3 will hit tomorrow. And oh my god, it's so much fun because I'm getting to play an asinine version of myself, which is great. Like, I'm like getting to play this character that's like I'm like, awesome, I don't have to hold back, I can just be me. It's not really acting, it's just with the accent, that's the only difference. It's really funny. But yeah, it's fun. Like, Brandon, my partner, is playing my partner in the series, and it's really funny. He gets to explore being a complete asshole. Because he's not. In real life, he's the sweetest, most cinnamon roll human being you'll ever meet in your life. But, you know, in the show, he's like, oh, God, Joseph, you're stupid! And it's like, kind of like watching that side of him. You just do that occasionally. It's just like, it's kind of hot watching you yell at people. Also, I just love, like, working off of my colleagues that I've known for years, like Jeremy and John and Jamie and all these people that, like, are voice actors that John has brought together for the project. We've worked together for years as voice actors, but most of the time as voice actors, we don't get to actually work off of each other in real time. Like, when we're doing a dub, you know, we record at different times. So, you know, you're hearing a conversation, but it was actually recorded, you know, sometimes weeks apart. And so we get to know each other at cons. We're like, oh yeah, we were in that show together. You were awesome. I loved your performance. You know, like, oh, and people are like, wow, you've never met? Yeah, no, this is the first time we met. And so it's really nice to actually get to do scenes with them, like, you know, traditional kind of acting where you get to rehearse and go and like, oh, let's try this, and actually get to work off of them in real time. And then go back and do multiple takes to play with it again and again. That's so much fun to get to work with your acting colleagues that you've admired being with and being part of the industry for so long, and finally getting to explore new avenues together. So, thank you for bringing up Confessionals. Anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, Confessionals is a wonderful web series written and directed by John Christie. It stars myself and Jeremy Lee and Brandon and, my god, 1,000 other voice actors who will crop up surprisingly. And it's kind of like a mockumentary about actors, voice actors on the convention circuit, and we're all playing like overblown, ridiculously insufferable versions of ourselves, and it's wonderful. I love doing it. So, thank you. Who's got a